basically, we are mainly using OWASP standard. Okay, where according to the OWASP categorization of vulnerabilities, we are doing our searches. So now you can just see here. So this OWASP aims to raise awareness and improve the security of software across the globe, and that's why it's releasing OWASP top 10 list. Not only that top 10 list, OWASP is also releasing a lot of white papers, a lot of newsletters. Moreover, they also have their own vulnerable application where you all can practice, you all can try testing for the vulnerabilities, and we can learn how we can do the patching. Okay. So this OWASP top 10, it is a regularly updated report where we have the list of most commonly found critical vulnerabilities. Okay. And currently the edition of OWASP which we are seeing is of year 2021. So this year OWASP will be updating its list maybe in August or September. But till now we are following OWASP top 10 2021 list. All right. So now here we have a group of researchers, a group of security researchers. They are continuously testing for the flaws, and after analyzing a lot of vulnerabilities, they are categorizing them like which one is most commonly found and is most critical, which one is less commonly found and is less critical. According to that, vulnerabilities are defined. Okay. So these are the vulnerabilities in this OWASP top 10 list. We have broken access control, we have cryptographic failure, we have injection, insecure design, security misconfiguration, vulnerable and outdated components, identification and authentication failures, software and data integrity failures, security logging and monitoring failures, and SSRF. So these are the top 10 vulnerabilities found in web applications. Now, see, earlier OWASP used to release its list only for web applications. Now we have OWASP top 10 list for mobile apps also. We have OWASP top 10 list for APIs also. Okay. Now for LLM also we have OWASP top 10 list. So if you will go to Google, if you will check for OWASP top 10 API guidelines, you will be seeing the list of vulnerabilities which are most commonly found in APIs, which are so like that detail you can find onto the OWASP official site. So here if I'm just showing you,
Oh, wait.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, you have any questions? Please tell me. Okay. So see here, so we have OWASP web application security guideline. You can even download the documentation, means you can download the PDF also for it. Okay. So like if you will explore, you will be able to search for that. We have OWASP guidelines for APIs also. So here if I'm just showing you OWASP top 10 API checklist. Okay. So we have checklist for API security also. And we can see OWASP API security top 10 vulnerabilities. We have BOLA, we have broken authentication, broken object property level authorization. So earlier this OWASP was only restricted to web applications, but now OWASP is releasing checklists and guidelines for API security also, for mobile security also, for AI security also. All right. And we can understand from this documentation like which vulnerability is of more criticality. Moreover, if I just tell you, now you can just see we have one flaw broken access control. This broken access control is a big category. We have a lot of vulnerabilities which will come inside it. Okay, so mainly whatsoever flaws we have, so either that vulnerability is a type of broken access control flaw, or it's a cryptographic failure flaw, or it's an injection flaw, or it's an insecure design flaw, Like this, we have broadly categorized the issues. Okay. So now if I'm just showing you here, broken access control subcategories. So now can you see here? So this broken access control in itself is of these many types. Okay, so we have IDOR, horizontal access control, privilege escalation, access validation, force browsing. So now if I'm just showing you, okay. So now let's understand from image. That's better to understand. Yeah. So now can you see here? So we have broken access control vulnerability. It's also of many types. We have parameter access control, URL based access control. So even it's a broad category. Okay. So now we are going to see these flaws from the starting. So we are seeing firstly, like what is this broken access control? Okay. So before moving on to this vulnerability, can anyone just answer me? Like, what do you mean by authentication and what is authorization? Anybody?
So
Yeah, please tell
authentication
me.
is a process we need to identify who I am,
Okay,
or which is the system we need to identify. Authorization, it will what privilege it need to access it.
correct. So, authentication is you are validating who you claim to be. For example, if I say my name is Sia Kapoor, then I should have something which is ensuring that I am the authentic person. That is authentic. Yeah. Then we have authorization, which is ensuring that if you are the authorized person, how much permissions you have. Let's say currently for these sessions, I'm not having recording access because that permission I'm not having. So in authority, we talk about permissions. Now let's say we have an application. We have an application. For example, it is learning management system of some university. Okay. So we have a faculty. Faculty is having different set of permissions. He or she can upload the assignments, they can evaluate the test, they can even provide grade to students. Now let's say we have students. Okay. So each and every student is having his or her roll number, they have their own SAP ID, and like whatsoever test they are doing, they're submitting onto the dashboard and they're getting the results. Results are anonymous. So like nobody is able to see anyone's result. Now, for example, we have this person A. Okay, so person A knows hacking. Person A has found out some vulnerabilities in the learning management system, because of which person A is able to access grade card of person B also. He can also access grade card of person C also. So now in this scenario, so this vulnerability is broken access control vulnerability. Here the permission, this aspect is getting broken. Okay. When I talk about permission, so we have mainly two type of access controls, vertical and horizontal. If I say access control at horizontal level, this means all these people are in the same hierarchy. So we have all the students, they have same set of permissions, right? If one person is able to access the sensitive data which belongs to second person, then it is horizontal access control violation, or we call it as horizontal privilege escalation, where privilege or permission is escalated, is increased now. So earlier this person had limited view of the system. Now this person can access the sensitive information of this person also and for this person also. So this is horizontal privilege escalation, or we call it as horizontal access control violation. So is it clear to everyone, or any questions?
Ma'am, I have one question. Suppose you are logging in to a website which has user ID and password. So
Yes.
here, what is the authorization and what is the authentication? That user ID and password.
Yeah, so now let's say you have logged into a site using ID and password. So password, what you have, okay? So password is a secret value which you are having. So like once you have added the password and you have logged in. So now like when you're logged in, that means you are authenticated. You have proved, you have like you have passed the check that the person is you. Now when you're coming in the system, how much permissions you are having? Let's say if you are a normal user, a guest user, or you are an admin user, you have that set of permissions. You can write the document, you can read the document, you can make some changes. That is authorization. Authorization comes after authentication. Authentication proves who you are. Authorization is how much permissions you have to do something. Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am. So the password is a tool for authentication, and the user ID is a value for authorization, right?
No, no, no. See, user ID and password. So they both are the components for authentication.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you're authenticated, then you are in the system. Now, if you're in the system, what permissions you have, what role you are having, that is that is the authority you have. That is authorization. Like how much permissions you are having.
Okay. Okay.
You getting?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now
Yes.
let's say if I'll give you a simple example, let's say you are accessing a WordPress website. Okay. So you are only sick. Okay. So now let me show you one website. So let's take a very simple example. Okay. Now, for example, we have this site. Let's say Network Kings. You can take. Okay. So now you just see here. So now here they have the OTT platform also. All right. Now we are having one content admin who is changing the content. Whenever they are launching any new programs, the courses are being added. Some courses are removed. So that thing is being done by the admin. Admin is having more permissions. Since I am a viewer, I am only having this much access of the system, right? Now let's say if I have found some weakness in the website, because of which I am the admin user, I can delete all the programs. I can moreover add different pricing. I can deface the website entirely. So this is the example of broken access control when we talk about it at vertical level. Vertical level means you were somebody who had less access of the system, but now you have found the flaw, you have exploited the weakness, and you are becoming somebody who is having more access of the system. You have escalated your permissions in the vertical direction where you are having more permissions. Okay, and
Okay,
you
ma'am.
can do, yeah, understood. All right. um okay. All right. Now see, there are a lot of subcategories of this vulnerability, and one of the very common flaw is IDOR. IDOR is insecure direct object reference. Now here, if I'm just showing you this image, okay. Um. Yeah. So now let's leave it. I am showing you onto my whiteboard. Now let's say, okay. Now let's say we have a URL. Okay. For example, there is a newly opened bank, and you have went there. They are offering very good amount of interest onto the FDs. Now, but what's the problem? Let's say their website, like whenever you are authenticating yourself, whenever you are giving your ID and password, this is how URL is looking. HTTPS, and then for example, we have, let's say, bank of abc.com, and then we have user ID, we have user ID, and we have user ID. Okay, and then we have value equal to 10ABIND. Now let's say this is how your URL is looking like. So we have the secure protocol, we have the domain name, then we are having one directory user ID, we have this parameter value. And once you are getting authenticated, this is how the URL is coming up. Now this value, okay. Now, for example, there is one customer A who, when logged into the system, this is how the URL is coming up. Now, let's say there is person B who has, when logged in, then we have this bankofabc.com, and we have user ID question mark value equal to, this is 17ABIND. So this is the unique ID for this user. Now, see. Now, what can happen? Now, let's say if this person A has analyzed the URLs, means if he has noticed that there is something which is fishy in the URL. So now he can even try changing this value. Okay. Now, let's say if successfully he is able to change this value and he has replaced it by this value, then person A is now person B. So this is also an example of broken access control vulnerability. We call it as IDOR, insecure direct object reference, where we have one unique value, and that unique value, if you are replacing, then you're becoming somebody else. See, these days, there are very few websites which are vulnerable to IDOR, but still we have a lot of sites which can be vulnerable to IDOR. Okay. So now here what happens is we have a unique entity, and if we are properly analyzing the URLs or tokens, if we are able to replace that entity with some different value, we will become some other person. So this broken access control is a very big category of vulnerabilities. Okay. So here we have discussed about privilege escalation at vertical level, at horizontal level, and then we saw IDOR. So here, if you will see the images, I guess now this will be very easy for you to understand. Okay. So not this image, this image. Yeah, this is the good one. Now you all just see this image. We have this person, okay, who is a valid person. His URL looks like this: www.example.com transaction.php, and then this is the unique ID. Okay, and now this is the attacker. This attacker has tried to log in. Is somebody trying to speak anything? Okay.
We can't see anything on the screen.
Okay. Now can you see?
It's visible. I think, guys, if you're not able to see, please log in
Yeah,
again.
now it is. Now it is visible.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now see, we have this valid person, and this person, like when he logged into the system, his URL is looking like this. Let's say the domain name is example.com. We have transaction.php, and then this is the unique value. Okay. Now we have the attacker, and attacker has replaced its value and he has changed it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he is also authenticated. So this is what IDOR is. Yeah. So now are you able to understand that how this IDOR works? Okay. So yeah. So later, like we will be discussing more practicals onto IDOR as well. So let's move on to the next vulnerability, which is the part of OWASP top 10 list. Okay. So now you can just see here that this risk involves failures in restricting access to functionality and data to unauthorized users. It can lead to unauthorized information disclosure, modification, or destruction of all the data, and it may cause a lot of business loss to the organization. Okay. Now the next category is cryptographic failure. So now let's say now if I talk to you about states of data, yesterday also we have seen. So we have mainly two states of data: data at rest and data in motion. If I say data at rest, this means when the data is stored in your system, then which type of hashing method is used for converting data to hash value? Is it a strong hash or a weak hash? Now let's say if the developers they are using uh, like weaker hash, then it is the example of cryptographic failure vulnerability, where the type of hash is a weak one, or maybe the type of passwords the person is using, maybe the site is not properly telling users to use strong passwords. Okay, so nowadays you might have noticed there are a lot of websites when you are giving when you're giving your passwords. Now let's say if in your password you're giving your name, then sites will not be allowing you to give that password. You have to change the password, and they are notifying you, they are telling you that please don't use your name in the password. Okay, so now even this is important. Now let's say the site is not properly informing users and they are still using the weak passwords, so it is also an example of cryptographic failure. So here we talk about a lot of proper encryption practices, a lot of things which are revolving around encryption and hashing of your data. Okay, now let's say we have a site. Okay, for example, this site. And let's say we have this site. Okay. Now let's say we have this site and this site. So now who will tell me after seeing the URL which site is secure and which site is not secure and why? So now here you have to do analysis only on the base of URL. Okay, so like when we are doing pen testing, we have to check everything, we have to check a lot of factors, but now you have only two things. One is this URL and second is this URL. So this even I am copying. Yes. Yeah. So okay, this URL and this URL. Yeah, see, so this ICICI Bank URL is secure. Reason is that here we have HTTPS protocol. Okay, and here we can see that this connection is not secure, but browser has forcefully upgraded it to HTTPS. So means there is something wrong with this HTTPS URL. Okay, so there is some misconfiguration in it. Now, if I am replacing this S, then also I am able to log in. Okay, and we can see that the site is not secure. But generally, if I am trying to remove S from here, automatically this is still keeping S with itself. Okay, now what's the difference? The difference is when we talk about data in the motion. Okay, let's say we have this sender and we have receiver. Now when communication is happening from sender to receiver, and the protocol used is HTTP, or if it's misconfigured HTTPS, then when the data is on the way, then the data is not protected by any encryption method. Data is traveling in the form of plain text. And any unauthorized person or any hacker, if he is sitting in between, if he is trying to understand like what communication is happening, he will be able to capture the packets and can understand like what they are talking about. So now, but when we have HTTPS, this is hypertext transfer protocol secure layer. So we have this HTTP plus SSL. Now, when the data is on the way, this is encrypted format data, which is difficult for hackers to understand. Okay, and this is one of the thing. Now, this vulnerability is basically an example of cryptographic failure vulnerability. Okay, where what this SSL was doing, this was helping in converting data to encrypted format when data is on the way. So for this thing, like you all can just try seeing a very small practical via Wireshark, which we can also see. So now let's see that the basic practical. Okay, or let's complete it after we complete these vulnerabilities because we have many now. Okay. So you can just see that this was previously known as sensitive data exposure. And this mainly focuses on to failures in properly protecting data in transit and data
Yes,
at
ma'am.
rest.
Yeah. I
Yes,
have
please
one
tell
question,
me.
ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why HTTPS is more secure than HTTP? Like,
Yeah, so HTTPS is more secure because here, so this is HTTP and this is HTTPS. So what, so this is running on port 80 on port 443. Now here what's happening? Now when the data is on the way, so like what's the role of HTTP protocol? It is helping in client server communication. So we have web browsers, we have web servers, and our web browser is able to fetch data from the web servers with help of HTTP protocol. Now, this HTTP protocol alone, if we're talking about, is not secure because this is how it's being designed. It will not be encrypting your data when your data will be on the way. Okay. But when we talk about HTTPS, it is the combination of two protocols, HTTP plus SSL. And when they both are combined, so this data sharing process is happening because of this HTTP and SSL. What it's doing, it is adding the secure layer onto the data. The data is encrypted when it's on the way. That's why HTTPS is more secure as compared to HTTP.
that means is encryption is the only one reason to more secure, right?
Yes. We can see a small practical onto this. Okay. Now, let us say, so now I am starting Wireshark. So this Wireshark is a packet sniffing tool. You can understand like packets are coming from where they are going. So let's see it. So we can see that we have the source IPs, destination IPs, protocols, lens, information. Okay. So now for now, like what we are going to do, let's come here and this is my site. It is testfire.net. Okay. Which is not the secure one. I'm going to sign in and here I am giving my username and password. So now by default to log in on this website, we have the username as admin and we have password as admin. So we are already aware of this. Now if I'm doing login, okay. Let me change my browser. So now can you see? Now I am logged in. Okay. Because to log into this site, the ID password is admin. Now here in the Wireshark, I am parallelly capturing the packets. Okay. Now I am stopping it. So now we have captured the packets and I have stopped it. Now I'm going to file and I'm just saving it. Now let's say if I'm saving it in the music folder, I'm just giving it the name. Let's say networking Wireshark. Okay, and then here I am doing save. So I have saved the file. Now let me come here. Now let's come to this folder. Okay. So now just a second. Yeah, so now this is the file. I'm doing right click and I'm opening it with the notepad. So open with notepad. So this is taking a lot of time. Okay, so we can see that this is how the file is looking like. Okay, now for example, if I am a hacker, see, this Wireshark is only a passive tool. We have a lot of mechanisms by which we can intercept the packets if the protocol being used is HTTP. So we have a lot of tools. So in the chat box, I am telling you, you all can explore. We have EtherCap, we have BitterCap. Yes. So now in this Wireshark tool, yeah, so that's what I'm telling. So with help of Wireshark, we can. So now here, if I'm just searching for admin, so now we will be able to hunt for the IDs. Now can you see user ID admin and password admin? So we have captured the packet. And now if we are trying to see the packet, we are seeing user ID admin and password admin. Okay. But now let's say if the site is the HTTPS website, then you will never be able to find user ID and password in the plain format there. That will be somewhat random like this. You will not be able to understand this. Okay, so this data we send from our browser, and you can just see when this data was on the way, we have captured it and we can see it in the form of plain text here. So now see here we have to open the notepad file. We have to manually hunt for it. But now once you are starting with EtherCap or BitterCap, you will be directly able to perform man in the middle attack as well. Okay. So there are a lot of tools. We have a lot of things in this as well. Yeah, but are you understanding? Now, like even you all can try this very simple practical. Go to Wireshark and try sniffing for the packets. Come to any secure website, send anything from there, and then try to look for the information. If you are able to hunt for it, even this is a misconfiguration flaw. You can report it in the companies. You can tell them that their SSL is not properly configured, and this is how you are able to capture the passwords. And it's a valid flaw. So it depends on company to company. They may even keep it as a informational category, or if this data, let's say if the site is a critical one, they may even uh, consider it for the bounty. So that thing depends on the type of site and onto what target you are hunting. Okay.
What is bounty?
So here vulnerability is that SSL is not properly configured and we are able to and whatsoever information we are sending from the browser, we are able to capture that in the packet and we can even read that in the form of plain value. This is the vulnerability. It's a part of cryptographic failure issue. Okay. So bounty actually differs. So see, some companies may not even pay for this flaw, but they may give you Hall of Fame or acknowledgement certificate. Some companies may give you $50 for this flaw or $100 also. So depending on to the criticality of the website. Now let's say if you are able to find this flaw onto HDFC Bank or onto ICICI Bank, then the criticality of the issue is more. Okay, so depending on the site, depending on to the target, how much sensitive information it's dealing with, bounty is being decided. So we have one thing that is CVSS score. This, which is Common Vulnerability Scoring System. Okay, so whatsoever vulnerabilities are there, we are defining what is the, like, how much critical it is on the basis of these parameters. Okay, so if I'll tell you, in this CVSS scoring system, we mainly consider for three things: what's the base score, what's the environmental score, and what's the temporal score. You just check here. See, it's not difficult, it's very easy concept, but it's very, very important. Now if I talk about base score, so here we have attack vectors. What is the vector for the attack? Is it some network based vector, or is it some physical machine, or is it some local machine? Okay, or is it adjacent to that? So like once you're hovering, you can just see also a vulnerable component is bound to the network stack, but the attack is limited at the protocol level to a logically adjacent topology. So now we have to choose for it. Now let's say attack complexity. So how much complex was it for the hacker to do the attack? Was it easy or was it low? Then you just choose that. What was the permissions required to perform the attack? If to perform the attack you need permissions, that is the higher thing. Okay, so now if you need the guest permission or any or any user permission, that is low. And if you don't need any permission, choose none. We don't need any permission to do the attack. You can just see here, once I change it from this low to none, it increased to 7.2 high category. So on to a lot of factors, bounty is being decided. Okay, so companies are paying on the basis of these factors only. Like how much is the effect onto confidentiality, how much effect onto integrity, how much effect onto availability. Now let's say for this flaw, we have no effect onto integrity. Let's say we can't change it. Now, for example, onto availability, since I am a hacker and I have intercepted the packet, so chances are high. Now let's say onto confidentiality, I am able to access ID, password. I can understand that in the form of plain value. That is high. So onto all these factors, we are defining the CVSS score. And companies, they are deciding their bounty on the basis of this criticality. Now, are you understanding? Please tell me. So whatsoever is the flaw, if it's SQL injection, if it's any outdated component, if it's anything, broken access control also. So you have to properly calculate it onto these factors. It's decided like what's the status.
Ma'am, I have one more question. So
Yeah.
as you said, if it is an HTTPS, it is encrypted. The message is encrypted before it is sent. If it is
Yes.
already encrypted,
No,
why
no,
there is
no.
a need of?
Not before it's sent. Now see here, I have given my username and password. Okay, I have given plain password. When my data is going, so how communication is happening. So client has requested. Okay, so we have client, we have server. Client is requesting server something. But when client is reaching the server, then this is data in the transit phase. Data is at the motion. So when the data is at the motion, even for some microseconds or for some milliseconds or for some seconds, it has to be encrypted. We can't leave data as the plain data. So when the data is on the way, there we are talking about this protocol HTTPS. We are not sending any encrypted data from here. We have only sent the plain value admin. Once I've done login, it's sending request to server, and when the request is being sent, there what's the state of data? It's encrypted. If I talk about HTTPS protocol,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. In the context of HTTPS only, suppose if you are using HTTPS, then why there is a need of application layer encryption? Some banking websites require.
Yeah. See, yes, I have understood. See, web application security is a very big domain, okay? We will learn about that, but we can't cover each and every component in today's session. I hope you understand, right? So we are just picking certain components and we are discussing onto that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, like now let's say if we have enrolled for the program and if we are seeing our top 10, we will be deep diving into each and every subcategory of the flow also. Like how it's happening, why it's happening. I even show source code. Even I have created a lot of vulnerable codes. So that thing also we will be understanding. So parallelly, we will keep on seeing source code also, like why it's vulnerable, and we will keep on doing the patching. So we will understand things properly. So we are just seeing some things today. Okay. So then we have injection. Okay. So now injection. So injection means to inject something, right? So now let's say I have a website where I am injecting SQL payloads. Now let's say if the website is reacting to the payloads I am injecting, then the site is vulnerable to SQL injection. If in the website I am injecting means inserting. If I am inserting payloads related to JavaScript and the site is executing that, then the site is vulnerable to cross-site scripting attack. If in the website I am able to give HTML payload and site is executing that, so now it's vulnerable to HTML injection. Same for XML, same for any other entity. Are you understanding? And this injection category is very interesting. Okay. So now, for example, this is my site. Let's take some different site. Now let's say this is my site. Okay. And here I am coming on to sign up. Now, for example, neither I know. Now, for example, neither I know what's the username, nor I know what's the password. Okay. So now let's imagine that here it's not written what's the ID and what's the password. So so this is a testing website for testing. So now let me hide it. Okay. All right. Now let's say we don't know like what's the username and what's the password. So like generally what we try is we firstly try to give default credentials. Means admin, test, admin password. We even try to check if there is any component, for example, PHP. Let's say we have some different version. So we will be checking online. We will be seeing like if for this PHP version we have any default ID password or not. So we will be exploring that properly. We will be doing a proper recon. Now let's say we are not able to search for anything. But during my recon process, I came to know that site is using SQL for database. Now the first thing which I will be doing is I will be trying to insert the single quote, and here also I will be trying to inject the single quote. Now if I am doing login, I will tell you why. If I am doing login, So we are not seeing anything. Okay, so let me remove it. Yeah, so we are not seeing anything. Okay, no worries. Now let me try more payloads. Let's say semicolon, semicolon, and if I'm doing login, I am not able to log in. Okay, no worries. Now I'm just searching for SQLite payloads. And here I am. So this is the first thing which we do. Okay. So now let's come down. Okay. So now here we have a list of payloads. Okay. So we have a lot of generic payloads. And firstly, we are checking if the site is having any flaw or not. If the site, now let's say if we are injecting these payloads and the site is giving some error, we will think more. We will understand, okay, the site is giving error. This means that there could be an SQL injection vulnerability. Because now what happens is, if you might be knowing of SQL, SQL is a language with the help of which you are you are communicating with the database. So you can create the table, you can insert the values, you can just update the values, you can upgrade the table using SQL language. Right? So now here, let's say if in the input fields I am able to I have given some payload and it's executed, because of which it's giving error in the syntax. Now that is error based SQL injection. Now once I will get some error, I will try to use some more payloads. So for now, so now let's say I am choosing one payload. This is OR 1 equal to 1 minus minus this payload I have given, and now I am doing login. Can you see here I am logged in? Okay, so now I am logged into this site. And why I am logged in? Because what happened at the backend, I'll tell you. For example, let me come to my whiteboard. But firstly, you all please tell me, have you seen this step where I am logged in to the site just by giving these random characters? So these characters I am giving and I am doing login. So now here I am logged in. Okay. And why I am logged in here? Because now what happened here is, how many of you are aware of SQL? Like what it is, basic of that?
It's a database for storing values or tables of content, username, password, etc.
Okay. Any more inputs?
We can store hash passwords and uh, yeah, for example, what is the age, what is the full name, address, phone number.
SQL is a language, okay?
Yes, yes, it's a language, programming language. You can use it to store database.
Yeah, so this is a language which we are using to talk to the databases. So we can make the table, we can insert the values, we can update it, we can do whatever we want to. Now, so now let's say, yeah, so now here like we have a syntax, like how we are writing SQL statements. For example, if we want to see like full table, so we are writing select star from and name of the table. All right. Now here, for example, if I want to see information of only ID and password, so here I can give select admin, comma, let's say uname from not admin. Let's take username, comma, password from table. Okay. Now let's say here I'm doing where name equal to admin. All right. And okay, so where name equal to admin. Let's take only this. So now we are selecting username and password from the table where name is admin. Now here what I have done is I have injected malicious payload. Okay. Now see, now where username equal to admin, and now say we have, let's say, and password equal to admin. So you all please be patient. I will be explaining you like what I am writing. Username. Let's make it start. Select everything from the table where name is admin and password is admin. So now what happens? Like what is happening in the site? Like once the username is admin and the password is admin, once this thing is validated, okay, then we are able to see all the information from the table. But what we have done in the username field, we have given this, or 1 equal to 1 minus minus. Now what will happen? Now here if I'll just take you inside this, name equal to, now let's see, we have this single inverted comma already, okay, and we have given this comma additionally, and then or 1 equal to 1 minus minus, and same for password. So now here what happened? Now this is taking name as nothing. So now this SQL is assuming name is nothing, or 1 equal to 1 and then rest is comment. 1 equal to 1 is a universally true statement. So 1 equal to 1 can never be false, right? So now this is assuming that this username is nothing, or means if any one thing is true, the result is true. And now it's all true and we are logged into the system. Okay, so this is how it's working. So are you understanding at least the basic of it? Because even I feel that knowing these concepts directly today may not be very much clear to you, because we will learn in a flow. Okay, so like it's a process. Like when we are learning about ethical hacking or when we are seeing some things, so these topics will not come in the beginning. Once we will understand a lot of things, then they will be coming. All right. And before seeing SQL injection, we will be having a small brush up onto SQL also. So are these concepts getting clear to you? Please tell me. Okay.